That's
only for UCLA, right? No Cal State Northridge.
No, yeah. Not my pool, please. So we're. Well, that's a good. We are back with another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot. Today we're going to talk about why milongas fail, and there's a lot of factors in, I guess, the relevance, like why some milongas are more popular than the others. But we want to really cover the factors that contribute to why milongas maybe go from being super popular to being less popular. Not saying that necessarily they're failures, but just that they weren't as hot as they once were. And I think, I guess to start with, right? I mean, I think one of the huge trends when they see milongas kind of lose their hot streak is the DJing and the music, right? I think that a lot of milongas can really suffer if they have a few nights in a row where they have DJs that, for whatever reason, just don't get the crowd up and dancing and people don't have a good time, at least from our experience here in LA. Mm-hmm. We really go hot and cold that fast.
Yeah. Well, actually, I also think that people play different games. And what I mean by that is this. When I was running Mio, I take a lot more risks because I'm a weekly, every Tuesday. Mm. So if I had a bad night, you
can make up for it.
I can make it next week. Yeah. Not a problem, right? Yeah. But if someone's a monthly, oh man,
you gotta wait a whole month,
right? And then people remember, do I want to go back to that? Ooh, it's not, it's a lot harder to because you don't want to take that kind of risk on a monthly because, you don't have the time to make up for it for a bad night, and then you're just scrambling all the time because once you're going downhill, it's like a free fall. So it's rough. So I think the first thing is people need to identify: are you a weekly? Are you a monthly? What are you? Because if you're taking risks like a weekly does, but you're a monthly and you're crashing and burning, people are just gonna remember that, and that leaves a bad taste in their mouth.
And I guess that's interesting because now that I think about it, we have a lot of monthly milongas in LA compared to other bigger scenes where it's consistently New York, San Francisco, DC, they have milongas every week on the same nights, where it's when people visit LA, they're like, all right, what's good? Well, what day, what weekend are you coming up? What exact day? Friday. But but what? Because it depends. It changes. It varies so often.
Yeah, but the thing with LA is that we're so spread out, right? Mm. And then it's really hard for people to visit every single place.
Right.
Where in New York you could milonga hop and hit 3 milongas in one night, and it'd be kind of a stretch, but you can do it. Right,
That's
you can
true.
do 2. You can do 2
for sure.
In BA, I did 3 or 4 in a night sometimes.
Yeah.
But 2 in New York, easy, right? 2 in LA, you're spending an hour and a half on the road. Yeah. So by the time you get to the other one, you're hitting the last 6 tandas, maybe 5 tandas. It's you show up at a milonga at 8, dance at 9:30, you leave, get to the next one, and it's 12:30, and they just start playing the Pugliese. Yeah, that's it. You got the Pugliese, maybe 2 more. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's rough. And I think it leads to the other ideas that we don't have a lot of weeklies because then there's this idea of people splitting the community, and it's
you took my day.
Yeah, you took my day. You took my dancers. That's my day. That's my territory. It's really rough, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, man, people would come. I get complaints sometimes, and what's even on a Tuesday? They're like, "Oh, Robert, people
are tired from your Tuesday, and then they will come to my Thursday."
I know. It's come on, really? What do you want me to do? Suck for you? So it's rough. It's really rough. And I think we need to get over, for LA to be better and for LA to be bigger, in my opinion, we need to get over this territorial, fear of splitting the community, because sooner or later the community is going to split, and splitting is part of growth. So I'm gonna just end it there. But
Okay.
let's get back to why Milongas
All right,
Fail.
so we have the two factors we covered so far. One is that, it's the music plays a huge role, and bad nights can have long-term consequences. And the second one was the structure of the weekly versus monthly format.
Yeah.
What else is there that makes Costs.
Oh my God, it's like, someone jacks it like. I used to go to Milongas for $15, and now it's like $25. It's almost double.
12? What do you mean 15? 15 was actually expensive.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
12 or
it
10?
was 12, yeah.
Sometimes?
But now it's like, so now it's like, do I want to spend $25 to go to Milonga where I'll probably run through a lot of rejections? Or do I want to go see Ghostbusters? Or at least I know I'm going to be entertained for 2.5 hours.
That's true.
That's what rough. Or at least I'll go to a bar because I can enjoy a drink. And I think that's one of the big problems that people don't realize, especially in tango, is that your competition isn't the other milonga. Your competition is every single choice a person can make.
Yeah.
New restaurant, new movie. Whatever it is, salsa for $10. The issue isn't tango. The issue is choices. And if you make your choice, like if the choice of tango is kind of painful to go through, people are just going to take the easiest path.
Interesting. Well, what about, so people would say, well, okay, there is the cost and we could make a lower cost, but why should I lower my Milongas cost when everybody else is 25? Why should I make mine 20? Doesn't that make mine look cheap?
Well, I think here's the issue is that there's a difference between costs and there's a difference between value, right? You want to provide more value than your cost.
Right.
If just because I jack up my price to $25, but I'm only providing $15 of value.
Yeah, it's a field burn.
I mean, is a Big Mac taste better because you paid $50?
No, does not.
No, it's like a Big Mac's a Big Mac. I mean, it even hurts now to pay was it $8 for it?
Yeah, it's gone. It's been going up. Even
So,
In-N-Out raising their price.
So I don't know. Like, is a Big Mac even worth it anymore? No.
Okay, but with cost aside, I mean, the music is important, right? But also the dancers are important. And so why some Milongas fail is because I think it all trickles down. Like if you don't have quality dancers going to your event, it kind of has a cascading effect.
So this is where I disagree with that.
Why?
It does have a cascading effect, yes. But I think the issue is you need to know who your clientele is and what your aim is. What's your mission? If your mission is I want to have great dancers, then yes, you'll have a cascading effect, right? But if your mission is to be an accessible tango venue, and having great dancers might be a good thing because you get rid of half the clicks.
Like not having good dancers is great.
Yeah, because you get rid of half the clicks, and maybe that becomes more accessible to other people. I mean, sure, everyone wants to dance with a great dancer, right? But if you know that the great dancer is gonna reject you anyways, why even have that error there?
I see.
And this goes back down to having that fun milonga versus having a good milonga.
I see. What about we had this whole discussion on ageism in the tango community. What about age? Do you think that plays a factor? Whether you have a lot of young people or middle-aged people or older people?
Well, I think it comes back to this. Okay, how does the milonga survive? Right, the milonga survives is not by its people, but how much money it can generate.
Right.
So if you have a whole bunch of old people there, right, but you're still generating money, you still survive.
Right.
Sure, you might be niche to a different market, and maybe you might not get as many young people there because they're like, oh, I want to go to a place where there are people my age or whatever,
right.
But at the end of the day, to me, money is money, and whether it comes from someone who's 90 versus someone who's 20, I don't care.
So your definition then of a successful milonga is whether it produces or generates value or money.
Yeah, because one, it needs to survive.
Right.
Right. A successful milonga A successful milonga to me is that it has a clear mission, it succeeds in that mission, and it has the ability to survive.
Okay.
That's because, whether it be, if it's like a hip, awesome milonga, right? But it doesn't generate enough money to pay the bills, it will only last a month or two. So is that really success?
That's fair.
I mean, I'm coming at this as an organizer,
That's true. I mean, you had a great experience as a milonga organizer, so
Yeah.
it's only fair. What other factors contribute to milonga not doing so well? What about the space itself? What about like the dance floor space? There's been some recent talks.
Sticky floor.
Yeah, your whole thing. You had to deal with that.
I had to deal with sticky floor. Yeah. Sticky floor is an issue. Slippery floor is an issue. It's just like, man, I was jumping through hoops. But the thing is, a good floor is really important because you want the people to survive, and dance again. And if they're like breaking their necks because they're slipping, or they're like twisting their knees because it's too sticky, people are going to come back there.
Yeah, that's a very underrated one because you actually don't think about milongas like I'm going to go to that milonga because of the floor, but actually it does matter when you don't have a good floor.
Yeah. Well, so I actually, okay, I'll put a little caveat because there's a lot of crappy floors in BA.
Okay.
I would say this. I would say it takes a specific skill to be able to dance on difficult floors, and if your clientele doesn't have those skills because they're catered to for like nice floors and squishy spring wood sprung floors that are like soft in the knees and everything, and you drop in the deep end of BA where you're dancing cobblestone, it's like, oh man, it's people are gonna go, oh no, like it might be in BA, but my body can't handle it,
Yeah.
So in LA we're definitely spoiled in terms of floors. So I would say for LA, definitely floors are a thing.
What about too many performances? Because I know there's people out there that just like, I want my time to dance.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste 40 minutes with all the announcements and the raffles and like the performance. Like, what about that? Do you think that plays a...
Oh, that definitely plays a thing. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people went to my milonga, because like I'm like, I'm not gonna go up there unless I have to. So, you didn't hear me. You didn't see me up there wasting half an hour of time. That's 2 tandas I'm giving to you.
Yeah.
And everyone loved it. DJs loved it too, because I didn't screw with their timing. But I do think it depends on the vibe you're trying to get, right? So if you're, let's say, a beginner-friendly milonga, where maybe people aren't going to be dancing all the time, you might want those performances because you want to inspire people, right? But if you are, Studio 54 with like the cream of the crop, they might care for that 1 or 2 performers who are like superstars, like your Jonathan and Clarissa, or or your Vanessa Facundo, or your Carlitos and Agustina, or whatever. But if you don't have those caliber of dancers rolling in there, no, don't even have them, because they want their time.
Right.
And that's it,
Interesting. But I would say that, what about the organizers who say, I want to give a spiel and I want to makes it more of a communal thing. Like, I want to thank the people for coming out. I want to thank for all the people that make this event happen. I want to thank the organizers and teachers that come support.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, right? But like, how often do you do that? If you cut in like an hour to make these announcements every time you do it, people are gonna know. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna show up in the last 2 hours.
And that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the problem with that. Right. The problem is that people are inherently lazy, right? Because they're gonna go out there like, oh, I'm like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna show up the last 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
But you have to create that FOMO. And that means like your job as an organizer is to pack the place as soon as possible, right? Because what's gonna happen? Okay, DJ's gonna go there. It's like, oh, there's only 10 people.
Yeah, I'm gonna play some lanes.
Yeah,
like warm up tandas.
Yeah, and the warm up tandas for an hour. And everyone knows. Oh no, they don't play. They play crap music for the first hour, so show up in hour 2, right?
Exactly.
And then maybe like, okay, maybe there's traffic, or they had dinner. Oh, it's running a little late, right? And everyone ends up calling each other. Oh, hey, is it good yet? Is it good yet? Is it good yet?
Who's there? Who's there?
And then by the time Derek Ting finds out it's good, it's the last half hour. He's like, oh,
never mind, I'm staying home.
So and that was my thing. My thing was, for Tango Mio, my mission, my personal mission, was to make sure there was 100 people there within the first hour. And if I had 100 people there in the first hour, I was golden. That like things kind of fell into place. I mean, there might be, a bad night, but if I had 100 people in the first hour, generally like 95% of the time, smooth sailing.
That's interesting.
Because then it's like 100 people are like, oh, hey, it's already jumping, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens? People from outside, foot traffic go, ooh, what's going on there, right?
Yeah.
Then they
it's
come
still
in.
Early enough.
Yeah. And on a Tuesday night, like that's crazy. I mean, I had nights where I had like 200 people on a Tuesday night. So the only way that happened was because there was I treated it like a nightclub.
Yeah.
Where like I want a line
for out the door, around the corner.
Yeah.
What is that?
At like 9:30. I didn't want it. I didn't want it at 1 in the morning where people are like, oh, okay, here are the weirdos.
Yeah.
I wanted it as early as possible. If I could have a security guy hold the line for and not let people in until the class is over.
The velvet rope.
Yeah, I would. But that's part of the game. Part of the game is the illusion of like, ooh, what's in there? What's going on?
The mystique. Yeah.
And also at the same time, it helped the DJs because then the DJs got momentum and they started playing better music, right? And then everyone started coming in earlier, and that became a thing, And that's why like the late game, like if you're a milonga that plays in the late game, what you're really doing is you're alienating all these people to show up early.
Right.
And then all you're doing is you're paying for rent that no one's using.
That's true.
So you're burning money.
That's a good point.
Because like look at Guapa. Guapa's freaking amazing, right?
Yeah.
2.5 hours, boom, 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 $15. People show up right away.
Yeah. Get your money's value,
Yeah.
right? Get in, get out, done.
Yeah. And like it's $15.
Yeah.
Good job, Jerry. Love it.
What else? What other factors? What about things like food? Does that matter? I know some milongas offer food. Do you really go to milonga for the food? Is it that important? Some milongas don't even have food.
Yeah, I would say food doesn't matter, right? But this is what does matter. What matters is if you make an effort to make good effort. Because sometimes people they do it because everyone else does it and they go cheap. Right?
They got Funyuns on the
it's like if you're gonna provide it's better to have no food and charge less money than it is to charge everyone $5 extra and have crap. Right? Because then people go, oh wait, I spent $25 and what's the bonus? The bonus is like salted pretzels, like 3-day-old avocados and like mushy strawberries. Like, what's going on, And the worst is like, oh man, okay, this is what okay, I'm a foodie. And so here's some things that really bother the crap out of me, right? Put something salty out there, super salty, like salted pretzels,
Yeah.
Like kettle brand potato chips, like stuff that's super salty, right?
Yeah.
And then you put out LA tap water. And so you're super thirsty and you're chugging this water like, oh, you can taste like it tastes like reclaimed water. Like it's from the sink. It's like, oh, this is terrible. And no matter how much ice you put in there, you can still taste the LA tap. It's like, oh, dude.
Doesn't matter how cold it is.
No.
I'm gonna hide the taste.
No. It's like I even bring my Gatorade package just to throw in there. It's like just to hide it. It's like, no, that's terrible. No. But no, seriously, it's about if you put value, if you want to provide value, make sure you're providing value. Don't just go through the motions and say, oh, well, people expect food, so here's some donut holes.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, come on, what are some bad things that you've gone through? I know you experienced some food poisoning here and there.
I don't like. I know this is gonna be controversial to people that do like it. I never like the cheese and crackers, man.
Cheese and crackers?
I hate that. I know, I've never been a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
Never a fan of any kind of pasta or anything that's out.
Well, okay, wait, I get you, but I gotta have a carve out for Brandon Sonata Room because he makes his pasta and it's pretty darn good. And you know what? I'm not a vegan.
But it just sits out and just looks all.
Yeah,
It does not look appealing.
No, but he, at least he covers it up with like tinfoil so to make it look nice and presentable. When you
if it was on one of those trays, the fire underneath,
Yeah, the shape trays.
Yeah.
No, for me, it's one of the things that really bothers me is the Costco croissant and cheese sandwiches. That's like cut into thirds. It's like. And so like when it's cut, it's like okay, I'm gonna sound like a snobby bastard here, but it's like it's cut and then it's like little pieces, but it's not cut well because it was cut with a plastic knife and it's all like it's all jagged on the sides, a little torn, or the Costco high rollers because it sat out there for too long, so the meal's all like the what do you call it, the wraps kind of all soggy and stuff. Oh no, man, sorry, no.
Okay, so food could be a deal breaker if you have some bad food. I get it.
Yeah.
What else?
You know what? Okay, this is one of my pet peeves, right? My pet peeve is a super pet peeve, so that we have an organizer who's super community oriented, right?
Yeah.
And they go around, and then they bother you to dance with a person who hasn't danced in the corner. I mean, okay, sure, if it's like, hey, Derek, if you have time, there's that person who hasn't danced in the corner, sure, right? Mm-hmm. But then it's like they kind of go and guilt trip you in. It's like, hey, Derek, like
take one for the team.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's like why can't you take one for the team? Like it's your money. You're the one making the money, right? It's like you can lead too, right? What happened to ladies don't need a man. They can lead also, and then now you come to me and like you expect me to do your bidding. It's like, come on, like. No, I mean like, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I'm very community oriented. At least I think I am. Mm-hmm. But it's like, when you play that card way too often, it just burns people out, and then people don't want to go there anymore because it's like. You show up, it's like, oh my God, like I'm just gonna get hassled, and then you don't want to show up anymore. And if your milonga depends, if it depends on the reputation of having good dancers, and you wear them out, and they don't want to go back, like you shoot yourself in the foot.
That's true.
What
about the decor? Does that matter? People like obsess over, I gotta have these table coverings, this red color, and I gotta have the lighting and with this, intimate shading and. Does that really matter?
I don't think it matters, but I think it helps. It's like, it's not the cake, but it's definitely a cherry on top, right? Does it make it better? Because I think the decor helps the organizers, helps people recognize that the organizer put time and thought into creating the ambiance, right? Now you could get rid of a lot of decorations by lowering the lights and make it a little darker, have mood lighting, right? But
I'm not going to someone's milonga for the centerpiece of the table.
No. But at the same time, the centerpiece, kind of, creates a mood if it's well thought out. Because wouldn't you say you go to a milonga because of the mood? Like it's a nice there's some milongas where it's a rambunctious milonga, and there's some milongas where it's a nice romantic milonga. There's some milongas where it's kind of like, it's that nice dark hole in the wall that feels cozy, like that nice little Thai restaurant that you go to at 2 a.m. That's kind of seedy, but you know what I mean.
Okay, that's fair.
So I think it contributes to the mood, right? But you can still create the mood without putting a lot of money and thought into the decorations. But again, it goes back down to, if you're gonna do it thoughtfully. And I think that's one thing that really grinds at me, because sometimes people just do decorations because someone else did it, so
I gotta do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy their thing, and I'm I did the whole fairy light thing, with the bowls.
Yeah.
And then next everyone else
doing fairy light.
But then it's okay, so I'm a little bit of a jerk about this, but then it's they used the wrong centerpiece, because we used the round one because ours were kind of big and wide, right? But when theirs are skinny, they should actually use a taller cylinder, because that would have fit their size and shape of their milonga a little better. And there wasn't that kind of thought process that kind of went into it, so there's a bit of a mismatch.
Interesting. I didn't even think about the psychology of that stuff. Like,
Well, like I search a lot of wedding stuff. Like, no, seriously, like I spent like 2 years, like Natasha and I did 2 years like wedding Pinterest like decorations and just like party decorations ideas, and just we really ran the gambit on that one.
I guess another thing is the sound. What about the sound? Speakers.
Sound definitely is important, man.
Sound
Because
quality.
like, when you're dancing and you hear a weird echo,
Yeah.
you're like, wait, was it that beat or that beat? And it's hard, or you didn't hear it well, or like you're dancing and one chord is super loud, your ears blown out, and the other chord is like too soft, you can't hear the music.
Yeah, there's only 2 speakers,
yeah.
two in the front, and then when you go in the back, it's like you can't
It's
hear
blown out, like the speakers are busted, so you don't hear anything. All you hear is like zzz, feedback. Sound's definitely important because it contributes to everything. Because maybe like bad speakers really make that scratchiness of the music come out more. And like I'm like, do I want to hear that?
I kind of like that.
You
It's
like
like it's a nice like touch. Like I think about like somebody putting it on the like turntable and then the needle goes and.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got the,
Okay. I get
classic
you there.
feel.
I get you there, but sometimes if it's a little too much of it, if it's too jarring, if it's overpowering.
Well, I think most of the time that's the DJ's responsibility to EQ the songs, right? If the highs are too high, you gotta lower the highs, or if the bass is too high, you gotta lower the low. It's just...
Yeah, but what if it's good for one side, it's not good for the other side because of mismatched speakers or whatnot.
That's fair.
Or like one side, like the shape of the ceiling's different, so it doesn't come out right. It's not like every single milonga event or event center has a sound engineer come in and meticulously figure things out. They're just like, oh, we put up some speakers, ta-da, Again, it comes back down to if you're gonna do something, make sure it's thoughtful.
What about overbalance of like gender, right? Gender or role overbalance.
How do you role balance your like?
No, but like, does that have effect on like, cause if too many followers are there one night, maybe they're like, no one was there, I'm not gonna come back.
It doesn't play into my decision, but does it play into yours?
I mean, if there isn't a lot of followers and I'm sitting out more than I want to.
Yeah, because for example, like I'm asking like, hey, how was it last night? You're like, I could use a few more leads. Like, no, in that kind of situation, like, do you feel too tired? And
I just feel the burden of like trying to.
So then, like, do you still want to go back out there? Do you feel burdened anymore? I mean, or if you feel burdened, what would make you go out? Like, do you really feel overburdened if there's a tons of college girls out there?
Well, it's just.
I know you're a college professor, so that's across some lines, but
that's
only for UCLA, right? No Cal State Northridge.
No, yeah. Not in my pool, please. So we're. Well, that's a good. Oh my god. Oh man. But I don't even know how to follow that up.
No, it's just like, okay, but going back to bird, like, if you're overburdened, and this kind of goes back down to like, like when I felt overburdened by some organizers asked me to like jump on a grenade, like constantly, like what will it take for you to come out?
Oh man.
Like your best friend's DJing.
That's one. Yeah.
Your out of town friends coming.
That's another one. Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things where that's one of the things when I was organizing, I really depended on people like you to help me out. Like where you would just go, oh, hey, people from SF are coming, right?
Yeah.
And like, rally the troops, and I'd call my people, you'd call your people, we'd all,
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is that, like, I think a lot of milongas, it becomes like an army of one with the organizers. Like they don't know how to delegate, and when they do delegate, they overburden, and that's why you have like, let's say, high turnover of volunteers.
Yeah.
You've got high turnover in who shows up because they're like it's so easy, especially with egos and everything, to like one bad fight and next you lose like 40 customers. And then those 40 customers like spread out, and then it's like, oh, the 40 cool people didn't show up, so I'm not going to show up there anymore. And then you lose everybody.
The politics behind the milonga, right?
Yeah.
You got to be neutral.
Yep. Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Come on, that's why I didn't teach when I was running milongas. You know.
It's only fair.
You know. But yeah, no, there's many reasons why milongas fail, but I think in anything, it comes back down to is I think a lot of people don't know. Like what they are, like what kind of milonga they are, because like
they're trying to be everything.
Yeah, they're trying to be everything, or even worse. Okay, I'm gonna not to sound like an econ major here or anything, but how many milonga people in the business of tango have a mission statement written?
It's like 1%.
You know, like because they don't treat it like a business, because every time it's like. There's this idea of like, oh,
it's community.
Yeah, like because business is a dirty word, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, you know, it's like support the community. Oh my God, that's another one. Like you have to come out, you have to support the community, you have to support. That's like, yeah, I'm supporting tango, but you have to come out to my milonga and support the community, like as if they are they are the community. You know, it's like, oh my God, like. That is the worst, like guilt tripping. It's when you start guilt tripping people to show up, like that's a death spiral. You know,
spiral.
You know, you're pinwheeling out of control. You know, it's like, yo, Goose, we're going down. You know, eject. No, seriously, it's like
I'm trying.
No, it's really like, you know, like once you start guilting people, like it's game over, man. I'm sorry, and I think there's a lot of reasons why milongas fail, but what it all comes back down to is it's a lot of. One, I would say it's a lot of bad choices, and two, I would say they don't read. It's like they have a hard time reading the tea leaves and adjusting to the new norm.
Yeah, there's a lot of adjustments, right? It's kind of like you have to adapt and continuously reinvent yourself, right? You can't like sit on your hands and be like, yeah, we did good a year ago,
and we keep on doing good. We do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's the worst. Okay, introverted organizers.
Introverted organizers.
Like no, I mean, like don't get me wrong. Like I understand people are introverted, and like you can be successful as an introverted person, right? Mm-hmm. But it is an obstacle. It is a difficulty to overcome, because how many people go, oh, that person's unfriendly, but really it's just introverted.
So, but as your role as an organizer, your job is to organize the event, to make sure it runs smoothly, to ensure people, you know, you can't guarantee someone a good time.
No, you can't guarantee someone a good time, but you can guarantee that they are recognized. Like how many people go to an event, and the only reason why they know that person's the organizer is because they collected the cash. How many organizers know the names of almost everyone who walks through the door? You know,
that's true.
Like there are times people would go to me that like people would think I was the organizer sometimes, even though I was just a volunteer. They thought I was the organizer because I knew everyone's name. I was greeting people and everything, and they're like, "Oh, I thought it was your show, Rob." I'm like, "No, I'm just a volunteer here, man." You know, and like I've had times people just go, "Dude, I'd rather just give the money to you," and I'm like, "Okay," you know. So it's introversion it's not a deal breaker, but it is a thing because people. People read, like, you're only going to be as good as the impression you leave, you know? And if you don't leave a good impression, like, the person can have a bad time. They might have not danced at all, right? But if you went over there and you actually showed you cared, that goes a long way.
But to their defense, right? They have a lot of things to do. They have to make sure if they have performers, they got to make sure that they're satisfied. They got to make sure the front desk people are satisfied. Yep. Sometimes they're even the front desk themselves collecting things. So they can't be going around and also saying hi to everybody and how's it going? How's your night going? They're not like some waiter at the restaurant. Like, is there anything else I can get for you? Like every 5 minutes?
Well, actually, I was a waiter at a restaurant. I mean, everything I know about milongas came from my years of restaurant experience.
Okay.
You know, and just like restaurants, when service goes down, like nobody cares that you're short-staffed. Nobody cares if you're the only person on, like you have to serve 50 tables because you're the only one.
Yeah, I want my burger right now.
Yeah, nobody cares, right? You're gonna get that 1-star Yelp review, and that's just the way it is, right? So part of it is being short-staffed because many times. a lot of organizers, they're afraid to take financial risk.
Yeah.
And they're not really taking on financial risk. They're just not collecting as much money.
It's also hard to get volunteers. It's not easy.
No, that's true.
A reliable volunteer.
That's true. But that's the thing, is you start giving perks out. I mean, I gave perks out. But then, so the problem is that if the perks don't match the work, or at least come somewhat close, people are just gonna bail out. Like, you
get a free entry into the nice.
I know. It's like, I'm gonna work you for 3 hours and for a comparison of $12. You know, I mean, how many times do we risk our neck lifting that sofa, going up and down, you know, up and down stairs, yeah, Derek and I have stories about volunteering, man. There were so many times we probably like escaped death more than 50 times because we were just doing stupid volunteer stuff that was probably breaking some labor code somewhere, you know, safety code violation, definitely. But you know what? Like, let's take volunteers. Like, most successful volunteer track, Caltech, hands down.
Okay.
Right. I volunteered for Caltech. That's where I started really getting into volunteering. Joey reached out to me because she saw that, like, without asking, I was just bored and I was just setting up chairs because, like, yeah, let's just get this show on the road, right? And she's like, oh, hey, you want to volunteer? I'm like, oh, that's a thing, you know? And what do I get for cleaning up the speakers and chairs at Caltech? You know, I got free workshops for visiting maestros. I mean, Jorge Torres.
Yeah.
You know, Leandro and Laila.
Yeah.
Even the local teachers, when Brian you really teaching, or Jerry was teaching, or even when Mitra was teaching, I'd get those classes for free.
But not everybody can offer that.
No, but what they can do is they could offer a little more. I mean, like, Yuli would actually have, like, you know, volunteer luncheons. You know, like, hey, a pizza party. Ilona did that also.
Okay.
You know, you have to respect the volunteers, because otherwise it's just gonna be a huge turnover, because, like, you're breaking people's balls for $12.
That's true.
Right? And would you rather have a good volunteer, or would you rather have that $12? And that's the other thing too. It's like, when you're short staffed, you're running people into the ground. So would you rather have 2 volunteers that keep on, like, quitting on you, or then make that $24 because you should have had 6 volunteers? Or how about, whatever, let's say 4 times 12 is, let's say, 48. Or would you rather have 6 volunteers, not make that $48, but then you have such good service that you'll make more elsewhere?
Yeah, people don't look at the bigger picture.
You know,
they just kind of like the numbers and.
Yeah, like, I can't afford a photographer, you know, or like, I can't afford this. I mean, if you need it, you can find a way to afford it, you know. And it might not be monetary; it might be just an exchange. Like, hey, I'm gonna trade you a private lesson for some time, you know, for 3 volunteer shifts. It could happen. Why not?
All right. Well, I mean, we covered a lot that goes into making a milonga. By no means are we saying it's an easy thing. And these were some of the factors we thought goes into a successful milonga or a failing or not as successful milonga. But let us know in the comments if you have other things that we didn't cover that goes into what makes a successful milonga and what makes a not so good one.
Yeah, and also, you know, if you're not in the LA area, we'd like to hear what are your favorite milongas. Maybe we can come out and check it out and maybe meet you out there.
Left foot, right foot on the road.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, thank you all so much for watching our videos. Make sure you click that notification bell so you can get all our updates.
We greatly appreciate it, and it'd go a long way in helping us put out better content for all of you.
Thank you.